Hello, world changers! Welcome back to another amazing podcast. Get him in here a little bit more. I'm super excited about our guest today. I'm very excited to introduce you to my brother, my older brother, who is going to be giving us some older brother advice. So I'll let him introduce himself, and then we will get on with the show.
Hello, world changers. 30-year-old male here.
What's your name?
Tyler Gentry, for the record. Just here to give older brother advice to all of you younger kids out there. Okay. And maybe older people.
Yeah, older people that don't have any siblings, because that's rough for you.
Yeah.
Even though we're a little bit jealous, because siblings can be rough.
Yeah, it can be. You can get calls late at night. You have to answer. Get it?
Oh, yeah, right. Tyler is my older brother. He is older than me by 5 years. And he loves me so much that when my mom went into labor with me and the doctor said, "You're going to have a new sister," he bawled his eyes out. No, I wanted a baby brother. And that has been our dynamic.
The doctor didn't even know what to say. They said, aren't you excited to have a little sister? And I was crying, and I was like, no!
Well, now you have 2 other brothers and 2 boys of your own, which is rough, so good luck with that. This is our 10th episode, which is super cool that it's... Gramps was my first person.
Yes, I heard that.
And he did a great job. He only cried once, and so I thought
nice.
It was...
I'm going to try to beat that.
When I was thinking of who I should have on this week, I usually ask them on Thursdays or Fridays. But I figured 10th episode would be good to have another Gentry on.
That's weird. I got no heads up. It was
Sunday.
Last night.
I know, at like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
You want to be on? I'm like, okay.
Which I feel like for you, though, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I don't like
You can't prepare for it.
No.
Because then you'll be like, nah, I don't think I want to do
this.
this. Yeah, I don't think. My kid's got diarrhea, which is a good excuse, I'll have to admit. So our topic today is older brother advice. And, despite fighting with my brother and him traumatizing me throughout the years with being an older brother, he does give very good advice, and he's definitely come a long way, and so I thought that would be perfect. Even when we just came up with this topic 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, a lot of thought into this for you guys.
I thought it would definitely be fun. So I guess where we could start too is the growing up aspect of both of our lives, and from when I was a baby to you having your first sibling, to just growing up with a sibling. If it was, do you wish that you were an only child? Like, it won't hurt my feelings. It might hurt Jack and Jaden's feelings for sure, because they're kind of babies, but...
No, not really. I mean, growing up, me and you fought every other 10 seconds, and Mom used to tell you specifically, because you were way worse, she would say all the time, he is going to grow up and he's going to hate you. You guys aren't going to talk ever. And, during the time, I was like, we do stuff now where I look back at, my other 2 kids, their relationships, and they're just way more sweeter than we were. And it always, like, that's why I texted you, like, 2 weeks ago just saying, hey, love you. And it's because, when you would get in trouble, or I would get in trouble, the next person would be right at the top of the stairs to watch, like, oh, God, they're getting in trouble. I got the front row seats for this. And Tatum got in trouble the other day, and Asher came up to me, and he's like, hey, Dad, honestly, that was probably my bad. So I would just let's let him do his thing, and you can just
what a guy.
I'll be grounded. It's fine. And that's what made me think, like, dang, that's really special. But we didn't have that growing up. We were always fighting. And I remember one of my core memories is you had broken one of my toys, and Mom said the only fair thing you could do is go upstairs into Peyton's room and break one of her toys. And you were bawling. You were like, please, you're begging. And so I took this doll. It was one of your favorite dolls. And instead of breaking it, I hid it under your bed. Because I was like, I can't do that. And I don't know if you ever found it, but yeah, that's what I did.
I don't know. At least I would know it's gone.
You thought, you were like, you had no idea. You were in mass hysteria. And I was like, but I went to bed thinking, like, you know what? I'm 5 years older than her. I think I did the right thing there.
I think even though we did fight, like, a lot, and I used to write in my little fort, I hate Tyler.
Still there.
It's still there in the house that he bought from our parents. And, no, I think that when we got in really big trouble, we would be nice to each other on the aftermath and be like, hey, dude, like you cool? Yeah. You just got your ass beat.
Things got really, really bad. We're like, hey, what a...
You want to
we'll get through it.
Yeah, do you want me to do something really bad so she gets the things off of you? Or, yeah, it was... For me, having an older brother, it was... I don't know. I guess it was like... Well, the reason I'm such a gamer now is because of you. And Mom always got, like, us the Nintendo and the GameCube
the
and
Switches and all that.
and and that type of stuff. But other than that, I mean, you were the one that was like Xbox, or we had the PS2, and we had the double controllers, and we had the Wii. And even though we would play games together, you'd be like, just listen to me, and we get so mad, and we end up fighting. It was like. That's where I came from my love of video games, because you could escape anything that we were going through in real life, and just, that's what you do. You go up in your room and you have, like, even to this day, your friend group, those are the friends that you played with way back in the day.
I mean, it's gotten a little different now, but we used to have, like, 6 of us on religiously, and we still do on the weekends. We'll make time to, that's kind of what we call our hangouts, because, you know, a lot of us are living in different states, married, kids, all that kind of stuff. So the only thing that we do for like our hangouts is hang out in Discord now and find something that you know. Sometimes we play, sometimes we just sit there and just talk though, and we'll get into like Minecraft type of games because it's easier to just like
chill and hang
BS
out.
And it's always a lot of fun. I play games with Asher now, and it always brings me back because me and him will end up arguing about something, and I'm always like, oh, you're literally just like my sister.
I love that kid. I know, he's too smart for his own good, though.
He really is.
And, no, I'm grateful for that. I'm great. You know, you meet somebody, and they're like, oh, I'm an only child, and I'm like, oh, I do not want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
You're probably the worst. Yeah, you're probably the worst.
Got
like,
no one to vent to.
Like, I definitely have issues, but you definitely have issues. Like, and you can say the same for Jack and Jaden, too. I mean, they have PCs. Literally, the only reason that they have PCs is because you have a PC.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we built it, too. I remember they saw mine. They're like, wow, that is super cool. And I texted Mom, and I was like, hey, you should really let me build. And we ended up saving, we saved, 600 on Jack's and, 400 on Jaden's, going off the PC part picker. And then I spent, the time
building it, putting it together, and that's so cool. I mean, I have a PC because Harold is obsessed with PCs. As soon as he saw I was streaming on an Xbox One, he was like, no. He's like, oh, no, you're not doing that. And it's cool, but definitely you can see it with Asher, especially his seven-year-old?
Yeah. His
7-year-old son, my nephew. He is just a crazy person with video games. I mean, we play the Switch and, Wii Sports, and it's so funny because he thinks that, I don't think he's ever thought this, that, people think, oh, that Auntie's so cool. No, I will wreck him, and I will scream in his face. Yeah. And, Mom's like, Peyton, stop! He's just a boy. And I'm like,
he's just a boy.
He's just a boy! And he'll get all hyped up and he'll scream in my face, and then I'll get a strike and I'll scream in his face. I'll push him over. I'm like, yeah, you suck! And he's like, Auntie. I'm like, sorry, my bad. I forgot you're a child. And it's just so funny that we grew up. I mean, if you would have told us when we were kids that we'd have a relationship.
Yeah, true.
And
the odds were stacked against us.
Yeah, the odds were stacked against us for sure. But definitely just having kids even, it gets everybody off my back. Well, not really. Jay's on my back. He's like, I want you to have a baby. But it's you have 3 babies.
Yeah, got enough to go around.
I don't need nothing. So
I'm constantly asking them to watch the kids for sitter stuff, too. So it's it must be way easier for them to be like, well, I can't watch 2 different families.
Yeah, it's just one. There you go. You got it. Because if you get mine, you're keeping her. And, no, I think it's cool. What else is cool is that we all are really different. Well, actually, I see a lot of us in Jack. And it's kind of scary.
Yeah,
it's definitely scary for me.
It's almost he walks a very similar path to what I was doing, so he's the one I always try to pull aside and try to give that advice for like, this is what you should do in life. This is where you should go, and things that I would have done differently. I try to like express that to him. Any type of advice as far as like, you know, he likes to work out, maintain his body, and I was super into that. That was something that I did at high school, and you kind of think that, well, I'll just look like that forever, and then like, the second you stop trying, it's like it snowballs, and then you're just kind of like in a spot where you're like, wow, I wish I would have went a different direction. So for him, I just tell him, like, you know, you like what you're doing, you like working out, bodybuilding, and you just keep at it, and yeah, he gives me, like, we'll break out like diets together. He'd be like, okay, so this is what I do is for X amount of protein, this is what I'm doing for calories, and then cool. I'll mimic it, and it's super nice when I can.
That is cool. Harold is just starting to work out again. He downloaded this app that like shows him, he does it every night, and I'll work out with him too, even though me working out is, what I always say is, I freaking ran varsity track for 4 years. Like, yeah. I've done my time. Like, I don't want to work out, and I don't want to go for runs anymore, and I should, and it's good for me. I just don't freaking want to. I spent every single, and you know, you played freaking varsity JV basketball. Like, it's every single day, morning and night, you're working out. It's just like, dude.
I was telling, you know, I like to sleep at now, and I always think, like, how did I get to this point? Because it was always like, get up at 6, go to the gym before school, and then go to school, then you go to basketball practice, and then Mom would be working, and at the time, it was either go to an empty house or I go, you know, to the Y until 9 o'clock at night, where she picks up. And I remember I had some kid come to me at high school. He was a few years under me, and he's like, I really want to get in shape. Help me, you know, get better. So I was like, yeah, let's follow me for a day, and we'll go. So we worked out after school. He met with me at the gym at the Y. We worked out for like 6 hours, playing basketball, sauna, all the things that I normally do. And I would do that 5 days a week. And I ran into his mom the next day, and she's like, I don't know what you did for my boy, but you need to relax, because he came home throwing up. And I thought, you can't throw up from working out too much. And now that I'm out of shape, I will, if I start going too hard, I'm like, God, I'm going to throw up. And so I always think of that dude. I'm like, oh, I should have. I didn't know it was a thing. Because it was like, I'm always go. I couldn't get tired.
Yeah, especially at that age. I mean, that was the one thing that sucked about track, is like, that's the coaches like envied you. If you threw up, they're like, yeah, that guy's a baller. And it's like, no, dude, that's terrible. You're literally running children to die. Yes. It's insane. That's why, no, it is. Jack with working out, I mean, he's like the laziest person I know, but working out is the one thing that really he's not, like, lazy about.
It's crazy.
And
he's so ripped right now. And he broke the high school record for bench pressing.
He's something else. I thought he broke another one too.
Yeah, for his size. Yeah, he just goes. He breaks his own personal records all the time.
And he doesn't even care. Like, he has no. Nothing affects him. He does not even, like, for me, I'd be like, yeah, you see my name up on the wall, but he doesn't even care. Yeah. He does it. He goes in there just for fun, just to like make the football guys feel like they're not strong enough, and then leaves, drops the mic, leaves. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's insane, yeah. It's crazy that we're all so different, but then there's also these huge similarities between us that even with Heath and Hunter, my twin brothers, they look exactly like me. Heath always comes, when they come and visit me, Heath will just stare at me, and I'll be like, what, dude? And he's like, I look like you. I'm like, that sucks.
You guys do look pretty similar.
I'm like, yeah, that sucks for you. Even Graham, somebody showed me a picture of myself on the vacation we just took. I look so much like Grams. I was like,
I get that.
I was like, oh no. I was like, no, Grams. You're a guy. Why do I look like you? It's rough. And that is the one thing, like, so when I got off the plane and we were in California, I called Jack, and Jack annoys me. I can't ask him to do anything because he's definitely not going to do it. And I was like, hey, did you go let the dogs out after school? And he's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, but remember you said you were gonna? He's like, yeah, that was yesterday.
yeah, you told me that. That was crazy.
Like, dude, and he's like, maybe you shouldn't take a vacation. And
I called him after that.
I'm literally bawling in the airport. I'm like, and I'm like, I'm crying, and Harold's like, don't let him ruin your vacation.
That's what I said. I called him. I was like, what the hell?
I know. I was like, what a dick, dude. And so then I called Jaden, and this is where we come together. And Jack is like this too. He's sentimental too. He'll do it. He'll do something if I'm really upset about it. But I called Jaden, I was crying, he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, Jack was supposed to go let the dogs outside and he didn't. And he's like, I'll go over there right now. And I was like, thank you. I was like, but make sure you don't kill my cat, because you also don't follow instructions very well. And it's like, and Jack has, I'll give him credit, he has done that for me a few times, where I'll be like, dude, I'm really stressed out, I need a favor. He'll be like, oh. Yeah,
Jack's always a good, like, he's really good. He helps with the kids all the time too. Or if I'll have him like pick up Asher from high school or something, or from middle school, elementary school. And then, but Jaden's my rider. I think he's just the biggest ride or die. He'll always do it for you.
He's got a big, even though he's like, he complains and he doesn't do it the way you told him that it has to be done. No. Ever. You're never. This kid could literally, be like, hey bro, can you go grab me the mustard? And he'll stare right at the mustard and be like, I just don't see it.
Like, he has a very mom approach to things. I mean, when we were at Christmas and we were putting together that kid toy, and you and Mom hand me this thing, and I'm like, what step are you on? She goes, what do you mean step? And I'm like, there's a freaking thing of directions.
And that's
and she's like, no, I just was winging it. And then I was like, well, there you go.
I know, she's so stressful. She's just like taking out pieces, losing screws. And I was like, Mom, what step you're on? And she's like, step? What do you mean? You just put it, if it looks like it goes there, it goes there. I'm like, no, that's not what this is. And she's like, we'll figure it out. It's just a kid's toy. I'm like, we've been doing this for an hour and a half. Like,
those kids' toys are intense.
This is not right. No, it's definitely, you're definitely the sibling that I've fought with the most. Heathen Hunter.
Oh, easily.
Heathen Hunter, I've never fought with. I mean, growing up, they would annoy me, but I never, fought with them. Jack and Jaden, well, I helped Mom for a long time, because Jay always worked, and so I helped Mom with them when they were really young, but when Jack started getting to his anger phase, when he was 4 or 5, then that's when I started, bully him, pretty much, and he remembers it. He's like, oh, you tortured me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he's like, you guys would hang me upside down and dunk me in the toilet. And I was like,
I don't recall doing that ever.
I said, we never actually dunked you in the toilet.
We'd get close, I guess.
We would get close. We would get close. We never dunk you. He's like, you guys used to throw me off the deck into the pool. I'm like, dude, you asked us to do that.
Yeah, he would ask all the time.
Your trauma. You're mixing up your trauma, dude.
We're just going over a story that I remember I watched him as young teens, and so Jack he had this handheld game, and I said, hey, Paco pooped over there, you gotta clean up the poop, and he blew me off, and so I went to take his game out of his hand, and he grabs me by my shirt, and so he's 15, and I don't know how, I was 23 or something like that, and so I, trying to be the dominant one, flipped him onto the the couch, but I slipped on the carpet, and so I landed on top of him.
I remember.
And Jaden was so scared that he took one of Paco's bones and he threw it right at me, and it hit me right in the jaw, and I was looking at Jaden stunned on what's going on, because it was I just asked the smallest task of these kids, and now I feel like I'm about to fist fight them. And so I remember
I remember this story.
I called her in and I was like, you can watch the kids. I'm freaking leaving. And I went and I sat on the hood of my car. And, no, I drove to the gas station. I bought a pack of cigs, which I don't even smoke cigarettes. I sat on the hood of my car till Doreen got there. And I was just smoking and coughing because I didn't even smoke cigarettes. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I got to calm down because I don't even know what the heck just happened in there. But I think they just tried to beat me up.
Fighting with everyone, that is different. Fighting with you, I would taunt you so bad. Yeah. I mean, he would be in his room and I would knock, 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 run. Wait, knock, 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 run. And then he would stand by his door, and as soon as I knocked, he'd open, and it was all bets are off. He's
chaos.
Chasing me.
Sprint, you're throwing stuff behind you.
Our house growing up had 2 staircases that went in a circle. And so I would run down one staircase, book it through the dining room. I would feel him almost grabbing me, and I would chuck a dining room table behind me.
Chairs, anything. And I would just have to stick through it.
He would either dodge it or it would hit him. and I would stop to look back, and the rage that would fill you, you'd be like, and then you would, like, 10 times faster, and you would absolutely get me every single time, and, like, you either punch me really hard, or you would give me, like, you would rub my, like, a noogie.
Noogies or snake bites, that's what I remember. Or snake bites,
or you used to, like, where you do your spit and suck it back in, and that was the worst one. I hated that.
So gross.
And that was like that was our whole dynamic. And then when I used to bully Jack and Jane all the time because I'm the older sister. That's just my job. But as soon as Jack started getting stronger,
I remember when it flipped, when you got flipped in that pool.
Yeah, and he drowned me.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I think it's changed now.
See, you would, like, when we were in the pool, I don't go in pools with my siblings because I'm gonna die. No, he was like, oh. And Harold just got in trouble in California because we were in the pool. He doesn't like chlorine, so he never goes swimming in pools, which is cool by me because he's cool. A friggin' menace. And, because he plays too hard. And I finally get him. It's an outdoor pool. It's heated. It's beautiful outside. We're right next to the ocean. He's like, okay, I'll go swimming. So we're in the pool, and we're like, we do like the normal pool stuff where we'll race and we'll hold our breath and like we'll fight. We'll play chicken or whatever. And he flipped me and he held me underwater. And I popped back up and I swung on him. And he looked at me and I said, "You're not my brother." And I got up. He's like, "No, don't leave the." I was like, "No. Screw you!" It's like, I'm done. And that is, like, my serious trauma. I can't trust anybody. Tyler would literally push me.
I'm so bad. I'll be the first to admit, I'm really bad at that.
If there was a pool, a lake, a puddle, a freaking ditch, anything, fully clothed, he would push me in it. Oh, this is the best.
Fully clothed is the best because we're like...
the worst, dude.
We're, like, preteens, so, like, no one has an outfit change because we think that some 11-year-old be going into the freaking lake. And so if you were ever looking at water, it was the easiest to just be...
Now if I'm looking at water, I'm like... Even with strangers, I'm like, who's there? Who's there? Don't come close.
Even Doreen, she won't get in the lakes or anything with me. And
I know, you're fine.
I'm really not. I get it.
When you tackle me in the ocean, you jerk. I have a video of that, you idiot.
I have a video of Jack doing it to Mom because the year before we went to Florida, and she was looking in the ocean, and it was just like ankles deep because she was in full clothes. And I made sure her phone wasn't on her, and Jay's like, "Yeah, no, I got it." And so then I freaking pushed her while a wave came up, and she fell under, and she came up with an uppercut, and she missed. And so then she was just running at me, swinging, and I had to keep backpedaling, and I was just dying of laughter.
You're such a dummy.
They're, like, the best part about getting older is I understand consequences now. So, like, that time when you took that nap in the river, and you're like, you were tubing down the river, and you're like, "I'm letting you know. I'm closing my eyes. If you flip me, I'm punching you in the face. That's just it." And you fell asleep, and I was like, I know I'm going to get punched. And I flipped you, and you came out, and you hit me right in the face, and I wasn't mad, and I knew that was going to happen. So I just went on my way, enjoying the consequences.
But with you, like, in the pool... Like, at least, because he used to hold my hands behind my back, and he would dunk me. And then he'd let me up for air, and he'd go, "Take a breath." And I'd be like, "Tyler." I'd be like, "Tyler, no." And he'd be like, "Take a breath, you're gonna die." And I'd be like, and then we'd go, and he'd do it for like 5 minutes until my mom was like, "Tyler!" And Jack doesn't have that.
No.
Jack doesn't have that. I might kill her. And that is when I realized in the pool, when we were at that hotel, and he tried to kill me, I was like, I gotta get out of here. And then we went on the river that one time, and I don't think you were on the river with us this time. But he was messing with me. He wouldn't stop messing. He had one of his ex-girlfriends, and he's trying to show off in front of her. Right. And so he's messing with me the whole time. He hasn't done anything like super bad yet, right? But then he starts picking on Jaden. They're out of the tubes. They're fighting in the water, and I was like, "Oh, this is my chance." Dove in the water. I'm like freaking David Hasselhoff swimming, right? Jack sees me coming. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm about to kill her." And so he gets me underwater. I flip the script on him. I get him underwater, and I feel him go, and take a deep breath of water, and then go, like, underwater, and I let him up. I go, "Yeah, son." I said, "You might be stronger than me, but I play dirty now. Like, I know what to do now." And he gets up, he's like, "Whoa." He's like, calling me with Bob's like, "Hey, don't kill your brother." And I was like, "Yeah, don't forget it." And I went back in my tube, and I was all cool. But yeah, no, I don't mess with you guys anymore, because you're way stronger than me.
and the water, it's so funny because like I grew up with just you, so I had my small sister, and now I remember when I was like 22 or something like that, I went to a beach with a few guy friends, and me and a friend were, dinking around in the water, and he held me under for like what I felt was way too long. So then we went from like this play fighting to like aggressively trying to drown each other, and I thought like I did have a moment where I was like, dude, how it sucked to be Peyton's shoes, because she had no defense. And I
look like a 30-pound little girl.
Yeah, and so we got into this fight, and I'm holding the dude underwater, and he's like, he is punching as hard as he can, like right in my ribs. So we get up and we're like squaring up, and and he's like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Are you done?" And you didn't get that. You just had to take whatever it was because I was a dude and 5 years older than you.
It's fine. That is like my biggest, when somebody asks me what my sibling trauma is, it's anything with water.
Yeah, truly. It was brutal.
That is my, like, I would rather, because you were fast growing up too. If we were on dry land, you'd catch me. You were quick. And then I started track though, and that's why, even my dad too, he played way too much. And I would be in the house and he would hide randomly. And I'd be like, "Dad?" And I'd be like walking through, I'd be like, "Dad?" And then he'd jump out and try to grab me, and I would sprint out of the house, and I would literally keep running until I found a tree, and I would spider up the tree, and then he'd be like, "You gotta come down sometime." And I'd be like, no, I'm gonna live up here now. And it's just like, you know what though? It has taught me, even in high school, because I was bullied like a lot in high school. It was really traumatic for me. And that first like 2 weeks of like the really brunt of it, where all those mean girls were just the worst, it like got to me. And then after those 2 weeks, I was like, dude, I've spent my whole life getting my ass beat.
Yeah.
And like, if you think you're gonna hurt me with words, if you're gonna think you're gonna knock me down with words, I don't think so. And if you want to square up, I've been fighting somebody 5 years older than me for my entire life. Yeah. So let's do this. And that's why, like, I'm lucky that I have siblings. I'm lucky that I have an older brother that had I was freaking tormented.
It got brutal at times.
It got brutal. I mean, even Slugbug, or he used to make me sleep on the freaking van floor.
Oh yeah,
on every road trip.
I didn't want the floor, but you could fit perfectly in there. You didn't have room to move around, and I didn't really think of that part. But you could
couldn't move.
You could fit down there, and so we each could have a spot to lay. If you just like, and I would be like, "You're getting down there, or I'm just gonna make you go down to the bottom of the floor."
It's like, I'm either gonna wreck this is gonna be the worst road trip of your life, or you're just gonna go like, "All right, I'll just go down. It's cool. It's fine. I'll just go down there." But no, it's definitely that's like that's the sibling values though. Siblings truly do bring that type of value into your life. That when you're younger, I mean, when we were younger, I was like, screw this guy. He's giving me no value. This guy sucks. But now I'm like, okay, it's definitely as you grow older, you definitely appreciate having siblings. And I know a lot of people that don't have siblings really wish that they did.
Yeah.
I mean, even my friend Haley, she was an only child for most of her life, and then her mom met her boyfriend, and he had a daughter. And so she got, like, and she would call me, she's like, "Oh, she's so annoying." And I'd be like, "Dude, you've had to deal with it for, like, a few months. Yeah. Like, you're fine, dude. Get over it." And now she has a sister, and they're friends now, and it's just, like, it's a really cool thing that, especially with watching my nephews and seeing Carly too, is that Asher and Tatum get to have that brother relationship, but then Carly also gets to have these older brothers that are going to protect her. Like, they're not going to have the dynamic that we had, because it's just different between them. And Mom was like, for a lot of our life, it was just us and Mom. Like, Jay wasn't around yet.
Yeah, most of it, yeah.
And so, I think Jay came around when I was, like, 5 or 6, and you were, like, 10, 11.
Yeah, I remember we moved to Superior in 6th grade, in my 6th grade, because I didn't go to elementary school at all in Superior. But, yeah, that was... You know what I really look back on is I just went back through, like, a lot of my archive Facebook messages from when I was, 18 and 19. And it is a ton of me starting beef with random people that you tell me to, like, this girl did this to me, and so I have like a ton of like.
Yeah, right. You should send those.
I kept them because it's like it was super funny. I'd get conversations with like other older brothers, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna have to meet up somewhere," and I'd be like, "Well, where are we meeting up then?" And like obviously never did, but it was just two big older brothers being who can puff out their chests the furthest, and it was so funny to read through these messages. But there was literally like 8 or 10 of those.
I see, and I never thought you did it. I always would come to you, and you'd always say, like, something like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Or something like that, and I never thought that you actually... So that's so funny that you did.
Those messages are cringe. If you have any of those, I apologize, because they're like, you beef with my sister? Because that's pretty freaking not cool, man. And they would either be like, you're right, I'm sorry, not trying to beef with some freaking 17-year-old, or they would be like, my brother can kick your ass, and I'd be like, well, he can freaking try.
There was that one time that only time that I knew about was with that one girl's brother, and he threatened to like stab me.
Oh yeah.
And you messaged him, and he stopped going to school.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I didn't say anything crazy other than like,
let's meet in the cafeteria.
Hey, let's not freaking stab. Let's not threaten
She's
that.
She's in like 6th grade.
And so yeah, that was a crazy moment.
That's what I told. Who was it? It was either Jack or Jaden who was having problems at school. And I was like, you want me to go beat that kid up? He's like, you're like 18. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I was like, I can find a 5th grader to whoop that 3rd grader's ass.
Yeah.
So I give that 5th grader $20, he'll do anything, I promise.
I just reached out to Jaden, and I tell this to Jack, and I told Doreen this. I said, if anyone really messes with my kids or my siblings, no problem spending a weekend in jail and thinking about what I did, okay? So,
I would gladly...
Not anything crazy murder-wise or physically assaulting, but just, like, I didn't have that growing up. Like, I was the oldest. It was always, all right, Tyler, you have to take care of your sister, or Tyler, you have to do this with Peyton, and it was fine, but at no point was there anyone above me where they're like, all right, well, you take care of Tyler. So even from, like, 5 when you're born, it was all about, all right, we need to make sure Peyton's okay. And so, like, I kind of just took over this, all right, well, I guess I figured out all my problems. And then people are like, well, nowadays they're like, well, why don't you ask for help? Well, I'm not used to it. I just didn't do that growing up. And so it's different being the older brother taking on that role of, like, there is no one higher than you. You're the manager of this operation.
Yeah,
so.
you're the last line of defense. I can see how that was hard for you, and especially growing up with, and Mom kept shooting out babies
like crazy, and I was just telling Doreen the other day, I don't remember anything about Jack or Jaden when they're babies, because I was like 18, I just moved out, and to me, I was just in my own world doing my own thing. So, any type of memories, I have zero with them, and like.
From like so Jack is 18 now and you're 30. So
I was 12 when he was born.
So you were 12 when he was born, and then Jaden is a year behind.
But then
a year behind him. So you were like, when they started actually being able to like walk and talk, you were like 14, 16. Yeah, 16.
I was.
And you would come home from basketball, you'd go up in your room, you'd play video games,
right.
You bring food up in your room, and then we wouldn't see you.
Not at all. I think about that often, because it's like I had no part of I don't even remember what it was like. So when I have my own kids, I was like, I just don't remember them being like this. And Mom was like, oh yeah, Jack and Jane were the freaking worst, and they're always doing this and this, and I have no recollection, because I was always thinking I was doing the biggest stuff. Like,
I think I was 8.
I was either on the basketball, playing basketball, and I was like, well, this is the most important game of my life, so I'm gonna practice. Or I was on that like semi-pro Halo team, and I was like, I have to be the best, and
which he literally was crazy.
I want you to know, if you're watching this, Mom, you ruined my chances at that. So I was 200th in the world. Me, Chase Rosowski, Ryan Kelleher, Troy Benson. That was the team. We played on game battles. There was like, I don't know, 2 million teams on there, and we were ranked like 200th, and then Mom grounded me because of my grades, and I couldn't play in this big tournament we needed to play in to go to Dallas. And
you're right. You should have never let you go to Dallas.
I know, but it was all in my head, because I was like, I have to be the greatest, because I had people like...
You were so good, though.
I didn't have to pay for like the Xbox Live. I had other people that would send me the codes, and so I would just type in the codes, and they're like, all right, cool, can you come play those, we're doing trainings and stuff like that. So me and Chase were like always playing with some sort of pro, and
That's cool.
And seeing their names now is even crazier because you're like, oh, well, I played with that guy, and now he's. I know someone who I played with, who now plays on like some pro team for Apex Legends.
Cool.
And we weren't like first name basis, obviously, because he's like halfway across town. He probably knew me as my tag, but
we gave a tag. That's it. Yeah, that's you guys were crazy. You guys
it was crazy
nuts.
fun. We still joke about it though, because if it wasn't for Chase, we wouldn't have been anywhere near where we were. Because me and Kelly would play the game for fun, and then Chase would be like, all right, well, we're gonna have a practice at 5, so you guys get home, you eat dinner, you're on at 5, or we're gonna have to play even longer. And so Chase would have our practices built out. He would have like, this is who we're playing against. That dude was like our best player plus the manager.
That's crazy. Well, that is absolutely insane. I mean, I remember
he was so good too. Me and him would play duos on things, and it would be easy. I mean, we would play, and it was like, we got to add other people. When we became 200th, we did it because we played a 3-on-3 match with Ryan in there, and then Ryan disconnected from the game, so we had to play 2-on-3 or forfeit. And this team was like ranked 100, and we were like 3,000 at the time. And so me and Chase played them 2-on-3, and we steamrolled them. We played it, and we beat everyone. And me and him were like on cloud 9, and we watched that number go from like 3,000 to like the 200 we were at, and it was like mind blowing.
That is so. I mean, a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, why are you so good at video games? Like, because I play a lot of Call of Duty and like Fortnite or whatever, and Minecraft and Rocket League and that type of stuff. And people are like, I mean, my favorite thing is when I'm on Call of Duty, because I use like a sniper.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we used to have snipe battles on MW3, like, it was our job. And they're like, why are you so good? Future president! And, like, they'll come into my stream like, oh, she's a girl! What the frick? And, like, they just say these crazy, outrageous things. And when I think about it, it is because of you that I'm so good. Because, one, you literally whoop my ass in every game we played.
Yeah, I wouldn't let up at all.
So I either had to get really good or you wouldn't play with me. And that's exactly how it was. Yeah. And we would play, remember that battleship map on MW3? Yeah. And we used to 1v1, and he would literally, like, I couldn't even play because he'd be, like, no-scoping me across the map. I'd be like, dude, how? He'd be like, get better. Like, get better, I don't know what to tell you. And it was the motivation of beating you, and I don't think I've ever beat you in a game like that. I mean, you should see him in Rocket League. Even when Asher was playing Rocket League on your PC, he was like, Dad, I can't even score this goal. And he literally leans over, and first 3 seconds on the freaking keyboard, he scores a goal, and I was like...
Yeah, and I try not to be as I'm grossly competitive. Me and you both are.
I know.
Had our entire life of just, like... And it was the most random games we would try to play against each other. At any time we were in the car together, and it was like... I tried to hold back, but I don't with a lot of things Asher does, because... He's also really competitive, and he needs to lose. Like,
I know.
And
he does.
And he doesn't now, though, and it kind of is blowing my mind. So we play around the world outside on regular size hoop. It's like all official. Me and Chase made sure it's so he doesn't even play on, like, he won't play on the regular size hoops for another 2 years, and he's playing on this regular size hoop, and we'll play around the world. He'll use his regulation size ball. I'll use mine. And for the first, 3 days, all I did was beat him. Like, every single game we'd do like, the layup, the corner shot, and then we'd do the free throw, corner shot, layup, and then we'd do 3 spots around the three-point line. Yeah. And he couldn't even get the ball to hit the net most times on that three-point line. And so I beat him every time. And then, just the dedication that he shows, I never had that. That's why he's better than me at everything. That's why I would score 2 points when I was his age, and he scores 30. It's because, so now, every time on spring break, I would open my door, because I'd listen to that ball hit the ground. He would go out there for 6 hours at a time, shooting on this regular size hoop, and now he makes threes way better than I do. I haven't won him around the
7.
world. I know. It's insane, the dedication that he puts into it, because, if I just had an ounce of that dedication, I feel like I could have been way better. I mean... And I always think, my dad was never into sports growing up. He was, he was into watching football, and he did a lot of stuff with me, but we never had that dynamic of like where me and Asher will play a game, I can record the game, and then me and him will talk about, and he's just so into like, okay, so
getting better,
we'll break it down, or like,
out.
okay, so you went around the screen there, and you could have shot here, but you decided to go to here, and so like, he just takes all of this information, and then when you watch him use it on the court, you think like, this is the coolest thing ever.
That, I mean, that's how I was when I was, I think after like 2nd grade, because like RBA, I was awful.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got into like the SBA, and I think it was 3rd grade you get to go in, as soon as I came like this bullet. And it was like from 3rd grade to 9th grade, I was just absolutely dominating. Any team I was on, I was the head point guard, I was making all the points. And then 9th grade, I kind of like, I didn't have that dedication anymore. You know, I was running track, and I was in student council, and like, school sucked, and people were mean, so I was like, I don't really care, like, whatever. And that's the thing with Asher, that I'm so glad that I, one, have nephews, but especially Asher, because I never knew what it was like to be an auntie, one. And actually, the award I got you that says Best Big Brother, I got one for myself that says Best Auntie Award. And Harold's like, you're going to get that for yourself? I was like, damn straight, I'm going to get this for myself. Yeah, I'm going to get this for myself. $5, I'm getting it. And, no, and I have this relationship with Asher where I can be honest with him, and he hears me, and sometimes, even on your wedding, like, I mean, he got so overwhelmed because there's just so much going on.
Yeah, and he was super sick.
And he wasn't feeling good. And everybody, like Doreen's mom and everybody, and like Doreen's friends were all like, Asher, 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 Asher. And I said, hey, I'm taking him, like, we need a minute. And they're like, no, he needs to take these pictures. He needs to do this. And I was like, no, he does not. He needs a minute. He's freaking 6 years old. Like, give him a minute.
Right.
And I passed our mom, and she's like, where are you going? He needs to do this, this, and this. And you can see the tears in his eyes. And I said, we're going to go play a game of air hockey, and we'll be back. And we were playing air hockey, and at first he was like, kind of just like, whatever. And then he started getting into it, and then it was like 6-6. I was just absolutely destroying him. And then I was like, all right. He needs this dub.
Right.
He needs, if he's going to get through this day, he needs this dub. And so he started scoring on me, and Tatum's the biggest hype man ever. And he's like, oh, Asher scored! Yeah! And he's like, freaking, he's going nuts, and he's like, come on, Auntie Peyton! And he's like putting his fingers on the thing. I'm like, where's your fingers? And Asher won, and I was like, you want to play another game? He goes, no, I think I have to go to the wedding. I was like, okay. I said, here's $1, put it in your pocket. After the wedding, we can come back and play. And he's like, okay, Auntie. And Tatum's like, I want $1. And I was like, you're not freaking out. Chill out. And we went back, and I just asked him if he wanted to spend the night this coming weekend. He's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, actually? And he's like, yeah, I like your house. I was like, all right. You can have this room, 100%. And it's definitely cool because seeing that, I mean, I was worried about him because you guys are so active. I mean, he's in soccer, he doesn't have,
his longest break has been a month now.
Yeah, he's in basketball.
He starts soccer tomorrow.
For a while, I was worried about him. I was like, oh, what if he's feeling overloaded? What if he's doing too much? And you read about, like, how kids that are too active, like, their bones or something, like, grow too fast.
Really?
Or something like that. They atrophy or something like that. And then I'm like, but when you see him in, like, a normal setting, he's, like, shy. He doesn't want to, like, engage at all. Or even when you go do fun stuff, he's not the first one that's going to be like, I'm going to go do that. He, like, lets everybody else go, and he watches. But then in sports, he's like, move!
Yeah,
like, he's got to get the ball. And he used to not be that aggressive.
No. We were working on that. I think the most craziest thing is when I was coaching him this year is he had this game. They were down 3. There was, like, a couple minutes left, so I take the timeout, and I talk to the team, but then he comes up to me because, you know, he just absorbs as much knowledge as he can. And he's like, okay, what can I do? I really want to win this game. And I was like, okay, first of all, they are sticking to you on this defense, so what I think you should do is I kind of walked him through. He loves his step back jumper, so I was like, I think you should go for, like, your layup, and then step back, and then, you know, you have that open shot. And so we fast forward, he gets the ball. He wastes no time. The defenders don't come up to him in a spot where they don't think he's going to shoot from that far away. And so he shoots this, like, deep shot. They give him a 3, so the game's all tied. They run down. They play good defense. Asher gets the rebound. He slows it down himself. That's during just, yeah.
It's
So then he slows it down. There's like 20 seconds left. I don't call a timeout. He already knows exactly what he wants to do, and he drives down, and then the second that defender is like hovering on his shoulder, he does this crazy step back. The defender goes all the way to the hoop, and he's wide open. He hits that shot, and he gets his team the first win of the season. And he comes in the truck, and he's like, "Whatever you tell me, I will do whatever." and he just has that he just has this drive where he'll come home from school and he's like, "I'm playing soccer. I'm gonna work on basketball. I'm gonna work on my dribbling." And it's like, I never had that.
Yeah,
ever.
Especially at 7 years old.
No, and he's so smart when it comes to like what he wants to do. It's like, I always knew what I wanted to do but could never get there. He already has like the game broken down where he wants to do what he wants to do.
That's a successful kid right there. Yeah, he's and I know, especially as a dad, I mean, there's times where you're just like, I can't do this, like I'm so stressed out. These kids are driving me nuts, but when you look at the life that, I mean, when you were 18 to now,
yeah,
it really is the life that you have busted your ass for.
Yeah.
And these kids are you're literally raising world changers.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that's like, when you get overwhelmed and when you feel that, like, that overwhelming sense of like, I'm not doing a good job, you literally, all you have to do is look at them and be like, okay, those kids are pretty cool. Yeah. So I must be doing something. And that's a huge, I mean, that's, everyone's on my back, like, you gotta have kids, you gotta have kids, you gotta have kids. And it's like, I don't want to have kids yet, at least, because I can't, like, I'm just learning how to focus on me. I cannot put my energy into another human living child. And it's like, I can, like, dogs are easy. I take a nap, they take a nap with me. Kids, I cannot hold, I could not imagine holding Carly all day long. She's the fattest little baby in the world. I need to, like, lift some weights before I have kids. But it definitely is it's showing Jack and Jaden, like, how to be a good dad.
Oh yeah.
And that is just so important. And I know you have to go soon, so we'll speed it up. Look, he's like, I don't think I could duck for an hour. I know.
I forget that who I am.
we're gentries. We're gentries. But I do know that there is some older brother advice that you do want to give before we go. And what is your job title?
Loan officer.
Loan officer. So that's what, and you've been doing that for a few years now, like a year or two? Okay, yeah. 2-3 years, yeah.
My previous job was pretty much a loan officer for, like, those higher interest places. So it's like almost like what the people call, like, loan sharks. You could probably consider that. So it wasn't extremely glamorous, but I didn't go to school because I didn't really try that hard out of high school. When I got out of high school, I was like, you know what? Whatever happens. And it wasn't until I had Asher that I was like, I should really step my game up. And I need more than $9 an hour. And so it took a long time to get where we are. So now when we have something nice, we like to just sit down and just enjoy it. That's why he's in all of his sports that costs thousands and all that stuff. But yeah, I went to work for them on some payday loans. Other than my boss, I hated every day doing those loans. Were just high interest, stressful too. Management was just, other than my boss, obviously, her bosses and her management made it really stressful on her and me, and really just burned us out. So then I started looking around and I found a credit union. And when I worked for these loan sharks, everyone comes to these high interest loans because they think it's the most convenient, and they think it's, well, I have damaged credit, so that's where I have to go. But when I look at what I do now, and all I do is look at credit scores, I look at incomes, finance loans, auto loans, personal loans, all that stuff, home repairs. I think, like, it's crazy that you even try to go to like those higher interest places, because if you had to show maybe more proof of income at a credit union, or maybe you have to put $1,000 down for a vehicle, you're saving yourself 80% interest. That changes the game a lot. So I think my biggest advice is just to really find some sort of credit union that you really enjoy, and then use them for your financing. Because if you're talking, I used to do auto loans for 30% if you had, like, pretty good credit. 30% would have your payments at like $400, and you just never catch up. You're playing catch up, and then the vehicle breaks, and now you're paying so much for this vehicle that you're like, well, I'll just not pay my vehicle, and I'll just get a different vehicle, which then damages your credit, and it just really puts people in a crazy cycle. So
yeah, I mean, for me, is like financial wise, like my husband is doing fine, but me, I've spent a lot of money on this business, and so I like am really budgeted, and he's very budgeted too, but like I have it so that like I make my paychecks, and then it all goes to bills, and then I save a little bit, and so he's been starting to take on a little bit more bills because he makes a lot more, but like it's so stressful. I had like a few years ago I had to get new tires on my old car.
Yeah.
And it cost me $700.
Yeah.
I didn't have $700. So my mom.
Not a lot of people do too in your 20s.
Just sitting there, yeah. And I was like, I can't do that. And mom was like, oh, you have a credit card. And I was like, since when? She's like, I've had it because it builds your credit. And I was like, cool. Use the credit card. I wish I never used it.
Yeah.
Because my credit is like 577 right now, which is absolute garbage. And it's because I got this credit card, and what happened is I was making monthly payments, but they were giving me a past due fee the day before the payment came out, which is like, you helped me set up these payments.
Right.
So it didn't
the APRs on those credit cards are usually at least 35%.
Yeah.
So now you're talking $700, you're paying 35%. So if you put, let's say, $100 down for your payment to just pay more to get ahead, I mean, you're already looking at $35 of interest per 100. So you can only add it up. That's why people never get ahead. So when they call, and like I do debt consolidation loans, I will literally grab their statement from the credit card company. I will write the entire amount out. We pay it off, and then it's up to them to close the account. But
yeah,
I deal with like the 577s all the time because they're all in that cycle. I just paid off someone's, I had a nurse who was like, I didn't know a lot about interest. I have a $15,000 balance because Discover would just give me higher balances, and I thought instead of paying it down, I'll just keep going. And so she was making $1,000 payments, and like $700 was going to interest.
Oh my.
And she's like, I can't keep doing this. So we pay off the credit card, and she's like, and now her minimum payment was at like $400 a month. This minimum payment is like $119. She's like, I can pay $1,000, and like on 10% now, it's just way more manageable.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you're really, and that's such a world changer thing. Like, people are so. I have a friend that actually ended up killing himself over a home loan. He bought a house, and him and his girlfriend broke up, and so the house payment was just on him. So he was like $150,000 in debt. There was nothing he could do. Yeah. I was trying to talk through, but you know, when people are in that I'm stuck phase.
Oh yeah,
it feels like you're drowning.
And I've been there too. I mean, I remember like I said, I had like really no job when Asher was born, so I started from literally nothing to where I remember he started soccer in like 4th or 5th grade, and I remember when he was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And he started soccer, and the fees were like $80. I didn't have $80. I had to call my mom, and I was like, I just feel like such a failure, but I really need him to go to soccer. Can you please pay for his soccer? And so that's what got me to keep climbing. And now it's just like I've obtained all this knowledge for your finances, because it really, like, so I work with one other girl in Superior. Her name is Wendy. That girl, her sole purpose is to make sure that she helps someone improve their life every day. So I kind of I have that same mentality of like, you know, yeah, I'm a loan officer, but what I'm doing here is I'm making changes. Like, yeah. So if you're saving $200 a month, or you're cutting your interest down by like 40%, like those are huge wins that, you know, that we kind of helped go.
A normal person wouldn't get if they went to a loan officer that didn't give a crap.
Yeah.
I mean, just like your furnace the other day, Doreen told me what had happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you get quoted $12,000 and
$12,000 to fix it, yeah.
And it's like the end of the world. Like, how am I even gonna do that?
Well, that's what we just got our taxes, and we paid off like any other type of random debt that we had. So we bought the house, we bought like this new $3,000 couch and this $1,000 TV, and we make sure everything looks like so perfect in the house. And so we finally pay off all of our debt, and And then we're like, what do we do for $12,000? 'Cause I don't have $12,000 sitting there. So, we look at it, and I was looking at doing a 12-month interest-free financing, because interest-free financing sounds like my favorite thing.
Yeah,
so,
seriously.
but that was like $12,000 on a 12-month term. It's $1,000 a month. And I was like, I don't have $1,000 a month to put towards a
fair.
furnace.
I got 3 kids, 3 dogs. No,
I can't do that monthly.
And so what guy came?
So we had a new person come, and I guess I was a little more vocal the second time. The first time, the guy was like, "This needs to be fixed. You can't have this. This is a fire hazard right here." And so it kind of I was like, "Oh shoot! I don't want this place to catch on fire." And so I had talked to Doreen's grandpa, who does a lot of rentals and stuff, super knowledgeable, and he's like, 12,000's insane. What you should do is just call around, see if everyone's saying 12,000. So I called, I talked to the guy, I said, look, we're just trying to limp this along for a few more months till we hit summer. That gives us more time to put a down payment towards a new furnace. And so he fixed it for $400. He quoted me a new furnace at like $4,800, and he told me that everything isn't as bad as he was told. That it's fine. We need a new furnace. The duct might have to be expanded in a place, but other than that, it wasn't that bad. So kind of got out of that one feeling like...
Well, it's like the unnecessary stress that first guy caused you. Like, I get you have to, like, do your job, but there's also a limit where you're like, hey, you see that this family has 3 children.
Right.
You see that they just bought this house how long ago, that they're still working on it, that they're still, blah, 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 all these factors in, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, so by the way,
right.
Give me $12,000, we'll be good to go. And it's like, who... Do you think that living in Superior, freaking Wisconsin, we're going to be like, yeah, $12,000,
oh, yeah,
cool.
Let me grab my checkbook for you.
Let me go grab my checkbook. Like, absolutely not. So, definitely,
Well, that's what I always try to stress people, too, is when they put in applications with me, and I always tell them, like, I always look at GAP and I look at warranties for vehicles, and I say it, but you can never really, people will always, like, second guess it, but I'm like, hey, I'm not a dealership. I make $0 off of you getting a GAP insurance or warranty. I just think that better protecting yourself and the loan helps your credit rise, helps you go, because, like, well, what if you get it, like, a roadside something happens and you're looking at $1,000 to fix it? Most people don't have just $1,000 ready on the go. Like, oh, thank God I have this $1,000 right here.
Yeah.
And so I always stress and I always get like that dealer vibe. Like I'm trying to upsell something, and it's like I'm really not. I just work for a credit union, so everything I do, they don't care if I sell everything. They don't care if I sell nothing. I just try to give all of the products so people know, and then hopefully make an educated call. And it's way easier with the younger people too to be like, this is the right call, and they'll be like, well, if you think it is,
yeah,
because I have the warranty on my truck, and if anything happens, like
you can fix it.
Easy.
It's covered.
Easy, yeah.
Well, I feel like that's like the best advice. Find a good credit union, because sometimes going through those bigger banks is super stressful. The interest is super high. Find a good credit union. Find a good loan officer if you're getting a loan. Know everything. Don't have super high interest. That's gonna stress you out in the long run. It's definitely
Or just talk to a professional too, because I know that like we have Wendy, who's certified for like a financial advisor, and it sounds like something that I would like to get into, but there's only like, I heard there's only like 26 financial advisors in like our area. So just talking to someone who looks at credit reports all day and can tell you like,
this is what you need.
This is what you got going on. This could improve. And I get people that we do a plan. Like I'll get people that have like $40,000 in credit card debt, and they're like, I don't know where to go. And I'll be like, okay, so we don't have to eat this entire elephant right now. We just take a bite and we just keep on going.
One step at a time.
So what we'll do is we'll pay a credit card off. Let's say we pay $10,000 off, and now you have $10,000 less of your debt. Make your monthly payments and maybe some with us, or you just make those minimum payments and then really tackle it on, and then we'll go 10 months later, look at it, see where we're at, and then we'll refinance and keep going there.
Yeah, making people so that they're not feeling like they're doing it alone. Well, I think that was a friggin' baller podcast. One of my favorites, definitely. Is there anything else that you want to say? Or is there anything else? We went through every single one of those bulletins. I told you. They're good to have on there. Because I keep looking. You don't even notice that I'm changing the subject to friggin' go right into there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I would say that I love my 3-year-old and my infant a lot. Because I didn't talk about them as much as Asher. Asher's just like, he's just everything I've ever wanted in a child. So.
Yeah, and well, Asher is getting his, like,
me and him are
full
at that
personality, age. Too. He's like, he literally is your mini-me right now. And Tatum's at that age where he's just, like, snotty, and and he can be cute and snuggly.
There's so many beautiful qualities to him, too.
So many beautiful
I only
things.
talk about Asher because, I mean, he has the sports background. Tatum starts soccer this summer, which is super fun.
That's going to be fun.
And then Carly's just, she's newer, but...
She's a baby.
So I just don't want them... I don't want to pass away, and then they look at this podcast, like, 30 years later and be like, okay, dude didn't drop me at all.
Oh, no, we love Tatum.
So, yeah, that's... Love my other 2 kids. Asher's just a prodigy. And it's so fun because I feel like I'm living like vicariously through his childhood. Because I didn't have like a dad to be like, I saw how you handled that zone defense there, and this is how I would do it. My dad's more of like that was pretty cool.
My dad was
some beers in the garage.
Yeah, my dad was you're on the court playing, I'm gonna yell at you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Like, bah, 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 bah. Like, Dad, I'm in the middle of a game. Like, please don't do this to me. Like, well, you're fucking up. I'm like, Dad, you're so embarrassing. Okay, it is
time to go.
It is time to go. You gotta go home. But so thank you so much. I seriously appreciate it. You ever want to come on again, or if you want to convince your friends to come on?
That went pretty quick. I thought that was gonna...
I know. It's.
If I'm being honest, I thought it'd drag a little bit, but it didn't.
Well, what I tell my friends that are nervous about being on camera is we'll sit here and we'll have a conversation, and I'll go, "Hey, joke's on you. We've been recording this whole time," and they'll go, "For real?" And I'll go, "No, I'm just messing with you, but it didn't feel like you were recording, right?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, because it's just a conversation. It's just like." I didn't want it to feel like other podcasts where you have, like, the mic in your face and you have to, like, yeah, this is here, and it's, like, just so that we can hear each other, but it's not, like, in your face, and you don't feel like you have to act a certain way.
Right.
Like, just be the person that you are, and because the only people I invite on this podcast are world changers. I mean, I've had a friend of mine be like, "Oh, I don't know if you want me on your podcast because, like, I'm very confrontational," and it's like, that's not what my podcast is. I'm not trying to have arguments. I'm not trying to start fights. I'm not trying to have, like, these outrageous opinions.
Right.
I'm trying to pick a topic that we would both like to talk about. And, I mean, I've known you my entire life. And sitting here for an hour and a half and just being able to talk to you is just, like, it's
nice. Yeah.
It's an empowerment to our relationship. And
for sure.
We both have such busy lives that we don't get to do this.
No.
And so it's definitely, but I think we're good. So we're gonna sign off. Goodbye, world changers. I hope you have a good week.
Also, I've been chewing this gum the entire time with anxiety of getting it out, so. I know that you probably are like, dude, this dude's been chewing that gum this entire time. I don't want to be on a comment, so yeah.